Explorer, brought to you by Lava Puma Network, sponsored by BYRON'S Games. Today I'm at the Adler Planetarium in Chicago, and we are meeting an astronomer, Mark Hammergren. How big is the telescope in Adler?
We have the largest telescope available to the public in the whole Chicagoland area. Now, it's a 20-inch telescope. That doesn't sound so big, but when we talk about telescopes, we're talking about the size of the mirror or lens that we use.
So 20-inch mirror lens?
Yeah, 20 inches across, and the tube is probably about 8 feet long, and it sits in an observatory right outside the Adler. And almost every day you can come out and use part of that telescope to look at the sun. Or at nighttime, we can look at the planets, we can look at the moon.
What is a Kepler planet?
Yeah, so Kepler is a spacecraft that NASA operates, has been for a few years now, and it's looking at a patch of stars in the constellation of Cygnus, a whole bunch of stars, and it watches them very carefully, and it looks for those stars' brightness to change a little bit over time. Why would they change over time? Because in some of these cases, if this was a star, you've got planets moving in front of their stars, blocking a little bit of the light. And so every once in a while, you see little dips in the star's light caused by the planets. And that's how Kepler, the spacecraft, discovers these planets around other stars. And it's found thousands of them.
What is a constellation?
What is a constellation? That's a really good question. So you look at the night sky and you see stars. You see patterns of stars. And they're arranged kind of randomly around there. Now, it's kind of like when you look at clouds, right? You can maybe look at some that make like shapes. And so ever since people have been on the Earth, they've been looking at the night sky and they say, wow, look at that. That looks like a hunter going after an animal. And so that group, that pattern of stars, they call a constellation. And so we've got Orion, the hunter. We've got the Great Bear, Ursa Major. We've got Lyra, the harp. So constellations look like things just out of people's imaginations.
Do you have a favorite constellation?
You know, I think I just mentioned my favorite constellation, and that was Lyra, the harp, because Vega, its brightest star, is also one of the brightest stars in the sky. And that's the first star I really got to know when I got interested in astronomy. It's nice and bright and overhead in the middle of summer.
What is the brightest star?
The brightest star in the sky is best visible in the winter sky, and that's the star Sirius.
Sirius, really?
Yeah, really.
I thought it was Pistol Star.
The brightest star in appearance is Sirius, but the brightest star in total, you know, intrinsically brightest, right?
Yeah.
Is the Pistol Star. Yes, very good.
What is the smallest thing in existence?
You know, we haven't really seen it directly, but our theories of physics tell us that the very smallest things that can exist are little bumps and ripples in space-time itself called quantum foam.
Quantum foam?
Little loops in space-time itself, and nothing can really exist smaller than that.
What is the largest thing in existence?
What is the largest thing in existence?
Besides the universe.
Besides the universe itself. Yeah, so first we've got the whole universe, which is everything that is possible in existence. And then we have what we call the visible universe, or the observable universe. See, it's a really cool thing. The farther you go out from someplace, the longer it takes that light to reach us. And so if the universe is only 13.8 billion years old, that means the farthest we could possibly see is only about 13.8 billion light years away from us. So that's the visible universe. Now we see galaxies, which are like towns of stars, that collect together into structures that are like 1 billion light years across.
Whoa.
So yeah, those are the biggest single things that we see in the universe.
What is the distance between the Sun and Alpha Centauri?
Oh wow. So the Sun and Alpha Centauri are both stars. The Sun is just a lot closer to us. Alpha Centauri is one of the closest big stars to us. It's a star almost like the Sun. But when I say close to us, it's actually so far away that it takes the light from Alpha Centauri more than 4 years to get to us. And light travels incredibly quickly. Speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. Per second. And it still takes over 4 years to go to us at that speed.
It's a very long time.
A very long time. And that's one of the closest stars.
What is the closest star?
Very closest star is a smaller star right around Alpha Centauri. It's called Proxima Centauri. And it's also around 4 light years away.
Okay. Just tell me about this meteorite back here.
Well, absolutely. I'd be happy to. This is a big iron meteorite. So by meteorite, I mean space rock. This is one small part of a giant asteroid. It was about 150 feet across, the original one. And this is one small piece of that. It hit in Arizona about 60,000 years ago.
It hit the ground?
It hit the ground. And hit the ground going maybe 30,000 miles an hour. And when that hit, it made a huge explosion and left a crater almost a mile across. And later on, only about 100 years or so ago, this was found laying next to the crater.
Was any of the other parts left?
There were. You know, ever since people have been in Arizona, Native Americans, they've been finding chunks of iron all around that crater, all through the area. And because humans hadn't figured out how to make iron ore into iron, they would take this iron and they would make it into tools. So every time a meteorite's found around the world in ancient times, people would make tools out of them.
So is this magnetic?
It is magnetic, yeah. If I had a magnet on me, you would see that it would stick to the iron.
Because iron is magnetic.
Iron responds to a magnet, yeah.
Is this made up of any other materials?
It is. So this is mostly iron, but there's also some nickel in it, the element nickel. You always find that combination in meteorites, iron and nickel together. They stick together very well chemically.
Is there life on other planets?
You know, we've never seen any evidence for life on other planets yet. We only have life right here on Earth right now that we've found out about. But we think the conditions are right on Mars. But we just haven't found it yet. It's probably a good place for life to live underground on Mars in places. So future rovers will be able to drill below the surface and then look for signs of life there. Now, on top of Mars, there are also some moons of Jupiter and moons of Saturn that look like they have oceans.
Like Enceladus and Europa?
Exactly. Yeah. They're both icy moons, covered with ice shells, but we think there's liquid water underneath it. There's big oceans there, and that would be a great place to look for life.
Why is it important to study space?
First of all, here on Earth, we're just one tiny part of the whole universe. So it makes sense for us to look out there and see what other kinds of stuff are out there. So that's one reason. The other reason is the more we learn about other places like Mars or Venus, we see other planets that may have been more like the Earth in the past. And so by studying what's happened to them over time, we can learn more about our own Earth and what might happen to us in the future.
If you could go back in time to when you were a kid and you gave yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh boy. I think I would really tell myself to really take advantage of every kind of opportunity that I saw come along, because sometimes something comes along only once. You know, like you get a chance to do something and you think, maybe not today. Well, it might be that never comes around again. So you see something fun, you see something cool, go for it.
Because it might not come back?
It might not come around again, yeah.
What advice would you have for kids that want to study astronomy?
Well, I think number one is to read a lot. That's the very best thing. There's also some really good stuff available on computers, on the internet. And we have something here, run out of the Adler, called Zooniverse. Zooniverse, like zoo and universe run together. And you can actually work on astronomy research. Everybody can do that. So if you go to zooniverse.org, you can work on a whole bunch of different projects in astronomy and make real science contributions. And then it turns out this is a great way to get a lot of research done. Let's just let the internet work on it. And it turns out people have made great discoveries in astronomy just by going to the website and doing this work.
How do you deal with a tough situation?
Yeah, I think it's very important to remember that, number one, it's okay to be scared. That being brave is not being scared. It means being scared but getting through it anyways. And it's okay to be sad. You can be sad too. But also remember that you're never alone and that people love you. And with those thoughts, I think you can make it through one day to the next, one moment to the next. And then before you know it, hey, things are better.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you, everyone out there. And please do come to the Adler Planetarium when you're better and visit us at adlerplanetarium.org.
If you're watching from the hospital, keep your chin up. I'm thinking about you and hope you get better soon. Bye. I think I'm gonna sneeze.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.